YouTube. Oh, sorry. Hey YouTube. This is part 2 of the video. The first video I did half an hour ago, something like that, when I first got this out the bag, and I was appalled by the setup on it. I wasn't really. I was maybe a little bit annoyed about it more than I should have been. The truss rod needed adjusted. It took like a couple of quarter turns before the rod even connected. Do you know what I mean? It was hanging loose. So I've done that, and that brought the action down, and then it's sort of fine. I've done a wee bit of work on the nut just to make it better. It wasn't something that was glaringly obvious, and you know, if I paid £2,000 for a guitar, I'd expect it to be like it is now as opposed to what it was. It wasn't bad though. It was, you know, slightly high, like, you know, less than a millimetre out type things. It's not, you know, it's now pretty good. But what a difference the truss rod makes. So when you get a guitar set up, and I said there, I was shocked. I couldn't believe during the summer there when I found out how much it cost to get a guitar set up in a shop, like £100, something like that. I think that might include strings, but so £90 then, or whatever. But so that didn't take very long. All this really needed was a wee tweak of the truss rod, and then it was acceptable. The nut, you could do a wee bit of work with it, but you could do, you know, you can adjust these things yourself to get it absolutely perfect. So I'm not charging my full whack for it. I wonder if shops would do that. I wonder if a shop would go, right, £100 for a setup, and then they go, oh really, just a truss rod you done? Oh, there we go. Are they going to say, well, it was meant to be £100, but it was dead quick. Oh, here's, you know, £20 or £30. No, they're going to charge you the full £100. So be careful. But it's completely transformed the guitar. It's completely different. It's amazing the difference of just having such a small item like a truss rod not being adjusted right, just threw the whole thing into being a sort of horrible, cheapy, nasty guitar to actually being a really nice one. So this is, as I said before, it's a Squier Classic Vibe 60s series. I've got it up here, so I'm gonna have a wee look at the features on the website. You can look this up yourself, but I'm saving you doing it by reading out the interesting bits. Squier Classic Vibe captures the spirit of a special and influential decade for music. The Jazzmaster was originally introduced for jazz players, but found its home in popularity in surf rock. Fair enough, the Beach Boys did play them. Since then, it has been a staple choice for a whole range of alternative styles, i.e. Nirvana, onwards. Due to the offset shape and distinctive sound, the rhythm lead circuit allows for customization for tone, which is provided by the Fender designed pickups. Essential to the Jazzmaster sound and style, the floating vibrato is ideal for creating all of those atmospheric tremolo sounds. It's also been made to a high quality and for a great price. It's like just at the end. Oh, it's also good. Yeah, that should maybe been the first thing. Features we love. Fender designed pickups. It wouldn't be a true Jazzmaster. Listen to the elitism in this. It's like, without this that unmistakable tone, Nico large single coil pickups, so they are single coils. Classic Vibe series qualities introduced 2008. 60s look. Yeah, okay. It's got pros. It doesn't have cons though, I wouldn't imagine. A true Jazzmaster. Full of style at a great price, iconic tones, perfect for a whole range of styles. I was going to say not every style, but I mean, I don't think you're going to be playing Baby Metal or Slayer on one of these. I think I might have to play some Black Sabbath on it though, just because it seems so wrong. It doesn't really tell you much. Popular body, maple neck, fingerboards laurel. I didn't think it was rosewood. It kind of looks a bit dusty, so it's not rosewood. It is a Fender scale, 25.5 inch, narrow tall bone nut, lead circuit. So that's basically that. And they come in at 359 quid or something like that it was on that. 359. Oh no, save £30 in a special sale. So it's actually a 389. It's basically a £400 guitar. So £500 if you pay £100 to get it set up, which is like, really, that's right out of my range of guitars. And I've got, you know, the guitars like this and this that didn't cost £500. It's like, so make some noise with it. This is the neck pickup. Just playing through my wee Laney VC15. I'm playing through that 3x12 cabinet though. No pedals on. The mic's over there. Live. Bridge pickup. It's kind of got its own reverb, something to do with these stringy bits. something to do with them maybe. Double check, make sure the reverb's not actually on. Nope. Well, the amp reverb's not on, so it's got its own natural reverb sort of thing. Both pickups. It is different sounding to other guitars. It's got its own thing. It doesn't sound the same as a Jaguar though. It kind of looks like a Jaguar, but Jaguar's the same. Maybe the same sort of ballpark. It's a bit more twangy than this. This is a very jangly thing. I think that would be to do with the massive single coil pickups and this tremolo thing making it. And I noticed that when I was reading out the tremolo arm there. Again, I think I've been overly harsh with Bigsby's for many years until I got a shot of my pal's got like a sort of Gretsch White Falcon type. I can't remember what make it was. It was a really nice guitar that I tried to buy off when they would sell, and it was like a big acoustic sized electric guitar, and like a big massive thing. And the Bigsby on that was like, you're all right. Suddenly the Bigsby makes sense, whereas I'd had one before on a Firebird, and it was like kind of, this isn't really like a trem. It doesn't do dive bomb. It doesn't do obviously doesn't do the Floyd Rose thing. Doesn't do the Strat thing. It's a very different thing, I think. But when I put it on that guitar, when it was on that Gretschy guitar, it made sense. It doesn't make sense on an SG or a Telly for me, but maybe now that I know what it does. This I think is a similar sort of thing. It said in the advert in the blurb there that it was like for atmospheric things. You're like, that's kind of what a Bigsby does. So it's that kind of thing. It's not for going dive bombs and stuff. It's just not. That's not what it is. So atmospheric. I might actually put some things on it, some chorusy things and stuff like that, because that's why. For some reason when someone says atmospheric, to me it kind of says tons of effects. Yep, and the other thing is the rhythm switch. What this does is, when this switch is down, it's two pickups, a three-way switch and a volume and a tone. When this switch is up, it's only the neck pickup, and you've got like an extra volume and a tone, which are slightly different. So there's the neck pickup on its own, and there's the rhythm circuit. There's obviously something else in there, whether it's maybe the different values of these two pots that do that, or some sort of capacitor, which gives it that sort of jazzy sound, because it's a Jazzmaster, so it's obviously meant for jazzing. And then you've got your own, its own tone control, which that's if you just want to be really, you could either just put a pillow in front of your amp, or you can hit that. So that's your secondary tone control. I just put these strings on, so it might not be really tuned. I'm going to tune it before I have a wee jam. Yeah. So just out of interest. So we're on the neck pickup. It makes a huge difference, doesn't it? There's definitely some sort of capacitor in play there, unless it's... I seem to remember these being 1 meg pots, but I thought 1 meg pots made it brighter. So it's basically like another few sounds you've got in there. And I think with a lot of these design things, because this is a vintage 60s thing, even if it wasn't a particularly good idea and it's not really used in any other guitars, because it's vintage you have to put it in. So you've got it, but you can ignore it. Tone all the way down. That's normal tone all the way down. And this is this rhythm circuit tone all the way down. It's not the same thing. cutting at different frequencies. So I think that tone pot has a different value to it, and I think there might be an additional pot, an additional something in there, making it sound different. It definitely does sound very different now. Yeah, so custom type tuners, designed and backed by Fender, Indonesia. It's got the kind of neck I like, glossy. It's like, oh, modern Saturn finish, you can feel the wood. Nah, no, I like a glossy neck. I also like a, I don't want to say artificially made to look orange, but I'm pretty sure it's artificially made to look a sort of orangey colour to make it look like an old one, which is fine. I'm no problem with that as well. Interestingly, the fret dots on the side there are halfway between the rosewood and, or the laurel, was it? The laurel and the maple. I've seen that on some guitars. I don't really know why that is. I suppose it's just a design feature. Some guitars, you know, the wee dots are in the rosewood, and in some guitars like this one, they're half and half in the rosewood. In fact, they're slightly less than half in the maple. They're more than half in the rosewood. I don't think it's inaccuracy. It'll be a design. In fact, I bet you the original Jazzmasters have that, and they've just copied it for whatever reason. Maybe it's a thinner. Maybe it's quite a thin fingerboard. I've definitely seen thicker. I've definitely seen thinner though. I've got a Kramer, a Japanese Kramer, and the rosewood fingerboard's really thin. I don't really know what the advantage to that is or the disadvantage. I suppose the advantage could be you'd maybe get, instead of getting 4 fretboards out of one piece of wood, you'd get 5, maybe, something like that. And the other way around, if you made it thicker, you'd maybe only get 3. But I mean, I don't think that really makes that much difference. Right, so I'm going to run it through the tuner just anyway, even though I think I got that nasty note out. I was using the tremolo a bit. It's amazing how much things changed when I adjusted that truss rod. It suddenly seemed to take away an awful lot of the buzz from the bridge. I can't imagine I was using that sound. Maybe I was. Actually, maybe. It's kind of like, is it kind of like Apache or something, isn't it? A very different jam. I never play like this. Rhythm circuit. Normal circuit. Treble into it. Not as treble as bridge pickup. backups. Boss O S2, which I always say the wrong name for. Yeah. Really weird sound, isn't it? Delay on it, maybe? That's all the pedals never use tremolo. Both of them off chorus. Not a big chorus fan, get it to my usual. Fuzz! Fuzz on the bridge. That's a twin note fuzz one, the Behringer fuzz, it's a bit more brutal. Ah well. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. In many ways similar to the Jaguar in the way that it doesn't sound like a normal guitar. I think if this is your thing, I can see, that's been played it for 10 minutes or something like that now in total, and I'm already sort of getting into the sort of things, the things that it does really well and the things it doesn't do so well, unlike a lot of other guitars which are they can be a bit bland. I mean that the Badger I've got, which is this sort of shape, it's got humbuckers and it's upside down. but it's not a copy, but it's an inspired by thing. It's very mumuch just like a Strat or a normal guitar. It's not a Jazzmaster, even though it's this shape. So again, it's something to do with these pickups, something to do with this bridge, and something that's making it sound really weird. I said I was going to do. I might have to put up the beef a little bit. Skip it off. Oh, I can't remember playing. Try to play some Dio Sabbath on the. It's got a really airy, springy thing going on. Again, pickups and bridge kind of. I can definitely see there's a place for having this, and I can see why someone would have. Just this way, I can totally understand why someone would have a Telly and a Strat, even though they're kind of maybe a bit more similar to each other than they are to this. But I can see why you would have a Telly and a Strat and one of these. So just a very different vibe. The neck also seems really long for some reason. Or is it maybe because the guitar maybe seems long? It's not, it's standard Strat scale, maybe something to do with where the bridge is. Oh well, like maybe on a bridge the Strat is maybe, on a Strat the bridge is maybe more sort of here, which just basically brings the neck in a little bit, so that's why it's seeming almost like a bass, dimension wise. Maybe that's why the Jaguar short scale and why the Jaguar doesn't really feel short scale, because it is, I think it's the same body outline. The bridge is probably the same and in the same place, but the neck, you know, the first frets, instead of the nut being there, it's here, which makes it feel more Strat dimensions as opposed to this, which just seems to be like an inch longer or something. But it's definitely got style. So I mean, yeah, to be honest, it's a thumbs up from me. I like it, and I think it's unlike maybe other Jazzmaster things you can get, like my Badger, which is an amazing guitar. I absolutely love it. Now that I've played this, I don't think it is a Jazzmaster because it's got that humbuckers and a Strat bridge. Maybe that's basically, I think, probably the only major difference. You know, Strat bridge and humbuckers doesn't make it sound like a Jazzmaster. I don't think you can have a Jazzmaster that's got humbuckers and a Strat bridge or humbuckers and a hardtail. I think then it's just a Jazzmaster shaped guitar as opposed to actually being one. I'd imagine, I don't think it's got a particularly tight radius on it. It feels, for some reason, I might be making this up, I don't know where this came from, but I thought like a Jazzmaster had a really curved radius on the fretboard. I'm going to start with 10. I'm going to guess that it's a 10. I'll show me how to do this, right? Show me better than that though. Ah, come on. If it wasn't sitting on that string, it would maybe be a 10. These aren't as easy to use as I initially thought. I thought they were broken when I first got them. Right, like that. Yeah. So it's a 10-inch radius. I think the original ones were maybe likely to be much tighter than that. You know, maybe the 7 and a quarter, like that Squier in the corner there, has got like it feels like you're on a converse thing. It feels like you're playing on a cylinder almost. Obviously you're only talking about a couple of degrees difference, but you do notice that. It's actually Black Sabbath on it. It's definitely there. atmosphere. Goes up as well. Yeah, it's the same as the Jaguar bridge. This bridge, I'm just talking about things which I find are interesting. The actual bridge is sitting on pins, but it's not fixed the way it is like a Les Paul or a Tunematic, which you're used to. So if you imagine the whole bridge is sitting on 2 pins, when you bend the tremolo back, it rotates a little bit. Like the pins aren't sitting, when they're the way they're going into the guitar, they're kind of going into a hole that's that wide. I'll enlarge it so the hole's that wide, and if you imagine the pin being there like that, so it can rock back and forward a bit with the bridge for tuning stability. I think that'd be why the nut has been changed as well. I'm not really giving it a fair go because these strings are only brand new on it, so. Well, it doesn't seem to have gone miles out of tune. It's also really weird. The switch is really new feeling, and it's like I very rarely ever get new guitars. Maybe I've never really had one with this type of switch. It just seems really like an industrial type thing. I don't think it's a special switch. It just looks like a normal switch. It's probably just 20 or 30 years newer than most of the guitars I've got. So I've actually managed to time that, so I can probably get this video out instead of doing the first one. So I might do the first. Sorry, I didn't freeze there. I was thinking of whether I should actually put the first video up at all, the one where I thought it was rubbish. I think maybe I'll just put this up as the main video, and I will put the first one, which I actually already uploaded, otherwise I could probably have spliced them together. I figured it was going to take. I left myself a couple hours to set it up in case it took ages, and instead of there being much more work than I was planning on, which often happens, there was much less work than I was planning on. A bit of adjustment, the truss rods, bit of that. Everything else seems good. It does have intonation screws. I'll run through the intonation, make sure it's alright as well before I give up. I didn't really notice it being. There's so many mad things about it because it's a sort of unknown element for me, having this different bridge and stuff like that. I wasn't really. It didn't sound wrong, so I didn't adjust it. Yeah, well, I think it will need adjusted because generally when you look at the thing is that the E string should be the longest one, and then they sort of get a bit shorter till you get to the E and D, or like this, and then the G string is slightly shorter than the D, and then it kind of slopes up as well, so it kind of should look like a sort of zigzag. Normally this one doesn't, so I will have to. The E is probably out. I won't test it with the first pedal on, though that sounds a bit silly. A bit sharp, even if I wonder if the tuning pedal will agree with my ear. Still not quite holding tune yet. Yeah, slightly sharp. So I need to adjust the intonation a little bit. That was because I was so surprised. Of all the problems that it had, because it sounded pure pathetic at start. Now it sounds, just by adjusting the truss rod, it sounded amazing. So all the other wee increments. So here's the possible scope for making it from what it was to being total top notch. Adjusting the truss rod did that, and then everything else goes. You know what I mean? Adjusting all the finer elements. Rock on, and I'll just stick the other video in the description down below. Rock on.